stainless steel brake lines and clutch lines. Let's go! Alright, the reason why people usually upgrade to stainless steel lines is because they want their brake pedal to feel more firm, more direct, and more precise when they apply the brakes, and it travels through into the brake calipers. I chose Technofit. I love Technofit, so it usually comes in silver, and they usually make it in other colors too if you request it, but silver is the standard colors for Technofit. And here's the 4 brake lines I have, and then here's the clutch line too. So the clutch also has a rubber hose from the factory that can also expand. So basically the clutch and the brake lines, they usually have rubber hoses where it can expand, and that's where wasted power can go through. This job is not that hard. So basically the first thing you're going to do is going to raise the car. Raise the sections you want to, raise the section of the car that you want to work on. Since I'm going to do everything at once, I'm going to raise the entire car up, and then after you do that, you're going to take off the wheels, and then we have access to the brake lines. Alright, here are the things you'll need. You'll need new brake fluid. Try to get plenty of it because you'll be bleeding the old brake fluid. So there's a lot of brake fluid being used. This is an adjustable wrench. You need a large adjustable wrench because there's a large lock nut on the brake lines. This is a standard 8mm wrench. This is used to open and close the bleeder valves when you bleed it. This is a 10 and a 12mm line wrench. It's used on brake lines and clutch lines on the nut that holds it in place. The reason why it's a special tool because as you can see, it wraps around almost complete circle, but it has a little slight opening on one end so it can go into the brake line and then wrap around the nut. This has more surface area than an adjustable wrench, so it will be much less likely to strip the nut with this line wrench instead of an adjustable wrench. So it's highly recommended to use that. When you bleed your old brake fluids, you're going to need something to catch it with. So I have this little bottle kit for bleeding brake fluid. You can use any container you want. Your new stainless steel brake lines should come with new hardware. So it should come with washers and bolts, like banjo bolts. Here's mine. If it doesn't come with it, you can use your old one, but I highly recommend you replace the old washer with a newer one. But last resort, just use the old one. In the meantime, brake fluid is very harmful. Not only is it harmful to you, but it's also harmful to the car's paint. So you gotta be very careful when you work with brake fluid. Try to wear gloves and try to wear safety goggles, glasses to protect yourself. It is very harmful, so be careful. Stay safe. Alright, before you start removing the old brake lines, you do have a choice of removing all the brake fluid from the car first. So you can start new, fresh, and all the lines will have brand new brake fluid. In order to do that, you have to open up the bleeder valve of each corner of the car and start pumping from inside the car so it dumps out into a bucket. So just get a tube and run it to a bucket and start pumping the brake fluid out, all of them out. So do one corner at a time and keep moving the bucket until all 4 brake calipers have been flushed completely. You don't have to do it, but it's highly recommended because it's like starting all new again. I just flushed all the fluid from the car, so now we can finally start the replacement for the brake lines. Make sure you have a bucket underneath where you're working, just in case fluid might drip. This is the rubber brake hose that we're going to remove. It starts from here and travels all the way down to here. This is where we're replacing. First things first, don't remove anything yet. Leave the clip on here right now. You want to remove this nut up here. Use the line wrench and remove it. Leaving the clip in here will help it hold in place so you can remove it much easier. And then you can remove the other stuff afterwards. You can remove this clip right here with the plier. Then you remove this bolt right here. This is to hold the brake hose in place. And this is the banjo bolt. You remove those 3 after you loosen the nut up here. After the nut is loose, you can take off the clamp. Here's the clamp. When you put it back in, try to squeeze it back into shape a little bit and then put it back in for a firmer fit. Now you can loosen the nut all the way. Here's the brake line. It's detached from the hose. Pull it out of the socket. Next, you're going to get the bolt behind this. Here's the bolt that you want to remove. We're almost done. The last part is the banjo bolt. Make sure when you take out your old banjo bolt, that there are 2 washers. You cannot have one still be in there. You can only have 2 washers at a time. You cannot have less or you cannot have more or it will leak. So these are the old ones. These are the new ones. 2 washers per banjo bolt. Almost every car is like this. Make sure you have 2. Make sure the brake lines go in between the 2 washers. It's supposed to sandwich the brake line like that. Here are the old and new brake lines. I just have one new one here. It's the front ones. So that's the old front brake lines, and this is the new front brake lines. Alright, once all the new stainless steel brake lines and clutch lines have been installed properly, you would have to bleed all of the brake fluid in the clutch line and the brake lines throughout the entire car. You have to do that. And that's how you install stainless steel brake lines. Good luck with everything. See ya!